Hello, Tiffany. Nice to see you. I haven't really even read this article properly. I gathered that things didn't go well for Prince Andrew through Facebook posts and everything. It's so typical, isn't it, that the whole thing was started by the Americans and then the British are the fall guys because the only people who got jailed were the British. Ghislaine is British, and now Prince Andrew of all people. And I can't even work up the outrage that we're supposed to feel about some man having sex with a 17-year-old. We already know that people have sex younger than that. That underage sex is these days par for the course. So the fact that Prince Andrew had sex with a 17-year-old when the age of consent in Britain is 16 is, well, it would raise an eyebrow in people who think, well, what's the problem? There's no law against it. But the more interesting aspect of it is that there's just no point to being a royal anymore. I mean, we keep saying that Harry was a bit, has always been a bit dim, but maybe he's a smart one. He decided that he would be better off giving up being a member of the royal family and becoming an American, because that will give him more status, more privilege, more freedom than being a member of the British royal family. And I know a lot of people were getting themselves worked up, and I think I was for myself, um, disapproving that he married Meghan. But if what he wanted to do was to get out of the British family and use Meghan as a vehicle to fly him out of Britain and into America without having to apply for a green card, then he did very well. Why would you want to live as a member of the British royal family if you know that you're not going to even he's six in succession, isn't he? So, that's really, a lot of people before him have to die before he gets to inherit the throne. And he probably doesn't want it anyway. I wouldn't want it in his place. And this is really the whole thing about being a member of the British royal family. You probably will put up with a lot of things. I mean, if you really were absolute monarch, then yeah, you will mind your P's and Q's and follow the traditions and all that kind of thing. But if all it is the empty husk of being a royal in name only, but actually having to observe restrictions that are worse than on the commoner, then you might think, well, is it worth a candle? Maybe, well, I want to do and say things, and I don't want to be questioned and criticized at every step I go. So if Andrew had been a commoner, nobody would bat an eyelid that he had sex with a woman not his wife. He was 16 at the time. But this is really more sinister in that nobody American has been prosecuted. What about the other people who were enjoying the service of the procuress, Ghislaine Maxwell? What about the Americans? I mean, who cares about some British royal who has no power and, in fact, has suffered more than an ordinary person would do if they were caught with the same crime. Like, yeah, I went to, was it New York? You went to New York and had sex with a 17-year-old. So what's the big deal? And he paid her off, even. And he still got done. He paid the blackmailer, and okay, this was in 2001. She was a minor under U.S. law. Oh, right, and she went to London. So it happened on UK territory. So technically, it wasn't a crime. Because even if it was a crime for her as an American in whatever state she came from, um, it would be legal for her to have sex with an Englishman in England. So it's a completely trumped up charge. It's disgraceful that the British are being so supine over it. Um, there's been other cases too of this American woman who was driving on the wrong side of the road and ran over a British teenager, and then she fled the country, and it turned out that she had form for doing this sort of thing before. And the parents of that dead teenager had to, well, they've not got their justice. I don't think they've been compensated. And, well, nobody cares. The government doesn't care. The British government doesn't care about Britons. Um, no. So, and anyway, they can't protect themselves from um, the Americans who, want to distract from the actual Americans who enjoyed the services of Ghislaine Maxwell, and so they thought they'll drop a British royal into the shit, and it happened to be Andrew. And it's not even a big thing, but anyway, she's suing him for 4 million. 4 million. Well, if she gets it, she would have hit the jackpot. I mean, are the British just going to let it roll over and let them do it? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, talk about being stupid and scared. Yes, thank you, Tiffany, for agreeing with me. I mean, 17, I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, he really was a fall guy. I wonder if the British will rally around him. But they probably won't because they are morally flaccid, as we all know. Yes, yes, Tiffany married. Harry married Meghan for a green card. Yes, Tiffany, I completely agree with you. I mean, he's paid her off, and now they're coming back with a second bite of the cherry. And you know, the way the British royal family is behaving, I mean, it is disgusting. They should at least rally round him and say, look, He hasn't done anything wrong. It's not a crime in the country to fuck a 17-year-old girl, so what's a big deal? But they just, well, treat him as if he were guilty. They are treating him as, and so everybody will take their cue from the Queen, right? Has she ever defended a principal? Has she? I don't think so. She should have retired when she was 60. What was the retirement age for women then? When was she 60? And let Charles do it. Now she's completely screwed it up for Charles because nobody cares about an old king. At least the Dutch and their royal family managed it better. Mind you, I'm not really a monarchist. I mean, I used to be, you know, partially supportive, but the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that it really has had its day. I mean, I mean, there is no pomp and circumstance anymore. I mean, after what they're doing to Andrew, nobody would want to be a member of the royal family. What is it all for? You actually get punished more for doing something that many people would do and nobody would bat an eyelid, but just because it's Andrew, they pretend to be shocked. I mean, the hypocrisy is rank, isn't it? But then we live in a world of, I was going to say distorted values, but can you even call them distorted? I mean, distorted from what? Distorted already from hypocrisy and confusion and inversion, the total inversion of it. Yeah, he couldn't have broken the law. You would have thought that he would have had more robust representation from the lawyers that he must be paying through the nose for. I I think things are so bad now that men are actually afraid to defend themselves. It's like they just get them kick me in the head and hit me, and if I don't protest, if I just take it, it'll be over sooner. And if I don't say anything, if I don't respond, then maybe it'll be over quicker. That's how they think now, and it's disgusting. And it'll just make people want to hurt you more and victimize you more, but they're too stupid to get it, right? Because they don't have a religion. They believe in nothing except to escape punishment, to not be punished. That's all they care about. So really, they are like cattle because they have no principles and they don't even have the objective of getting themselves some principle and getting themselves some dignity. Um, Nothing of the sort. So when something bad happens, they don't defend each other. And when they know that they're not being defended, they don't defend themselves because they are afraid that if they defend themselves, the punishment will be even harsher. And so Andrew, with his supposed status, is not actually defending himself. They're not even making the most obvious defenses. Because what? Have they been told not to defend it themselves? Maybe the Americans said, well, you better not say anything and, get your lawyers to submit or the punishment or the financial cost will be worse. And the Queen's not going to defend you. She's already treating you as guilty. An accusation is as good as a conviction, right? And the Queen agrees. Her behavior confirms this. So, what sort of impression does this sort of behavior give of the British? Maybe we all want to fly to America and get ourselves a green card, right? Tiffany suggests that they're getting at Andrew in order to eventually get to others like Clinton. I think that getting at Andrew so people like Clinton will get away with it. Oh, Tiffany, you, I completely missed the Christmas, the Queen's Christmas message. I should listen to it, I suppose. But I was quite busy. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say, really. I haven't even read the article. But it looks bad. I mean, if they can do it to Andrew, well, they can do it to anyone, any one of us, right?